So actually, this word life graph was introduced or used by Torcom Saratarian in his book Other Worlds. He wrote about this concept called what life graph is. Actually, this there are two or three very synonymous words every meditator should understand. Like meditation makes you understand your own life graph. Meditation is for to understand your own life themes, or meditation is to make uh, to understand the loss of life. So these are the things like every uh, individual should spend some time and think about these things. So meditation helps them to understand better their own life graphs. And another technical word we'll discuss in another class, like that word is called as archetypes, like how meditation brings very close to your own archetype is something he explained in all books. So today what I wanted was, like I wanted you people to get acquainted with this word called what life graph is. So this is taken from Other Worlds by Tarkam Saradarian. This definition of life graph, or this word, what life graph is. Each life is recorded in the computer of space as a succession of life graphs. A life graph is a new word by which reference is made to all recordings of our actions, emotions, words, thoughts, and motives. These life graphs are not actual dramas or events of our lives, but the records of them, which can then be translated on the screen of our intuition into actual events, just like events of television. One must study his own life graph. Through the study of his life graphs, one will see how much wealth he gathered in a certain life and how much he lost in another life. So this is a very extraordinary concept. Like most people talk about so much, but meditation should, one of the objective, or one of the real scientific meditation, the objective is, like one needs to study their own life graph properly. So please keep this word and try to do some research. The steps to follow to have access to one's life graphs. Even access, like we meditate, and if one has access to life graphs because of meditation, the steps are, like he gave it as purification of threefold nature. Only people who meditate, who understand, and, like their physical, emotional, and mental nature are purified, they can have access towards their life graphs. And the second is like people who are more emotionally and in the cosmic physical plane or on the earth plane, who demonstrate more of this thing called harmlessness, they have access to the life graphs. And the third thing is study of the law of reincarnation. This is the most important law. Law of reincarnation is complete set of, we need to understand law of cycles, law of karma, uh, law of vibration. All these things then constitute law of reincarnation. Reincarnation is not as easy as, like people talk, like I understood all my past lives, or I've seen my past life. This is not the thing. We need to see the cause and effects of each life. Only then we can understand reincarnation thoroughly. This, and fourth, meditation. Meditation, scientific meditation or regular meditation, if every individual really does, then such kind of people have access towards these life graphs. The signs that you are beginning to understand your life graphs is like, these are 5 signs he really mentioned in his article. That is like, people who have access to life graphs, they have much of more, they are more tolerant. Tolerance levels is to will be high in them. So one needs to check if they have their tolerance level or patience level. Then it means that they have access towards their life graphs. And second thing is urge to learn more. The most interesting thing, like, people already knows everything. Then for such kind of people, we can never teach anything. People really know how much they really don't know about the more subtle aspects of life. Then that learning process has so many levels, like, that is again a very beautiful concept. We need to discuss what learning is, what who is a seeker, how to learn. All these things is again a very deep concept. And third thing is inclusiveness. Like, most of the outlook of every individual is, it's in every area of their life. This separatism always dominates. That is why everything what we do, especially with meditation or book reading, we need to opt for books which make us more inclusive. Only then we understand our life graphs. Fourth, love. Love is nothing but intuitional comprehension. That is where Tarkam uses that word love. And fifth, using all resources to uplift humanity. This is like nothing but our spiritual service area. This is what Tarkam Saradarian, he wrote about life graph in the book Other Worlds. Now every meditator should really understand, like, if at all we are young souls, then how our life graph is really appearing. And if people are believing that they are old souls, then what their life graphs are. We need to understand these life graphs with our deep meditation and deep contemplation or understanding things. So along with this, he mentioned so many things, like, nearly 40 to 44 laws of life. Tarkam, he mentioned throughout his books, especially in leadership series. So all these 40, 44 statements given by Tarkam are like, they are the seed sentences or the real sentences. Like, everyone should really contemplate on those 44 things. Then it helps a lot of people immensely to understand their own state of life, or it really helps them to understand their life graphs more perfectly. That is what I feel. So going through all these things, like, why I wanted to introduce was, like, what life graphs are. In more other books, people talk about life themes. uh, so why I chose this concept is, even in challenges of discipleship, is most fundamental concept Tarkam discussed is was, what would be disciples expect from life. So we go to meditation classes, we go to so many spiritual organizations, we search everywhere. But one needs to really understand that life is like equal for everyone. Like, for some people, we think that life is as shown as injustice, and for some people it is good. That is how we really take birth. Like, we never sit and really think about the word what life is. So people who enter spiritual science, or they start meditation, or the so-called disciples, what can they expect from life is what the real topic is. So would-be disciples generally expect things from life: health, success, happiness, talents, and freedom. Disciples expect to have all these things, but they forget one important thing. This thing is very beautifully explained in a simple story which I once heard. A brother and a sister, 6 and 8 years old, were playing. The brother said to the sister, "Take this list and go to the supermarket and bring everything that I want." The sister went into the other room, brought a bag, and said to her brother, "Here is what you want." He opened the bag and there was nothing in it. He said, "I was not joking. I told you to go to supermarket and bring me what I asked for." The sister only laughed. So the boy went to the supermarket himself. He took everything on his list and walked past the check out counter without paying. But he was caught by the manager on his way out, and everything was taken away from him. When he came home, his sister asked, "Where are all the things on your list?" The brother answered, "You must pay for the things you want to have." This is such an important thing every person should understand. This is the tragedy of spiritual, religious, moral, ethical, and scientific life. You expect things and you go to the supermarket of God and fill your bags. But once you are out of the supermarket, everything is taken from you because you did not pay for it. What we expect from life is what we put into it. People expect many great things from life, and they think that life is unrighteous and without loss when they do not get what they expect. They think that life should bring them whatever they want, but life is very hard business. We must pay physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually if we want to have the things we expect from life. That is why people need to understand meditation more scientifically. The second important point is that you should not only pay for what you want, but you should also pay the right amount and be conscious of what you are paying. Many people do not know what they pay, how they pay, and why they pay. Man does not see what he pays or what he puts into the treasury or the computer of life through his actions, words, and thoughts. Disciples are builders. They build a great future not only for themselves but also and especially for others. You can only you get only that which you give. As for the individual life, the same is true for group, national, and global life. Our global conditions are the result of the conditions we as human race created in the past, consciously or unconsciously. A nation is stronger when it has more conscious people in it. People who consciously build a future for humanity using their nation to promote a better global life. How can we develop conscious control over our actions on all levels? Actions are of many kinds. Thought is an action in the mental plane. Emotion is an action on the astral plane. Speech is action on any plane. Action is also performed through our deeds. Action is a process of using energy and force for a certain plan or purpose. So the first thing, people who wants to become more conscious or like what they, if they want to expect their life graph or life, if they want to better understand their life themes, the most important point is we must develop control over our thoughts. We must not let any evil thoughts take root in our minds. Every thought that brings beauty, goodness, enlightenment, sanity, freedom, health must be welcomed. That is the first point. To develop conscious control is to watch your thoughts and replace all thoughts that are ugly, separative, harmful, or untrue with the corresponding opposites. Only then we can really access our life graphs. The next step is to exercise conscious control upon your emotions. Is the most toughest area. It is easier to control the mental nature than the emotional nature. The emotional nature is like horse, which must be conquered, or else one cannot climb the mountain of enlightenment. This is an important statement. Unless the emotional body is transformed, purified, and controlled, no progress is possible. The mind can build great castles and acquire great amount of knowledge, but the emotional body can destroy them in 1 minute. Knowledge can never control the astral body, but the astral body can control both the mind and the physical body. We must be especially careful to consciously control the astral body by eliminating self pity, touchiness, fear, jealousy, anger, hatred, feelings of revenge, and superiority and inferiority complexes. As we conquer these things, the emotional body turns into a mirror reflecting supermundane beauties for us. Self pity must be conquered by all means. No one can advance and find a proper field of service with self pity. Discipleship is the period in which you are supposed to overcome your mechanicalness, or, in other words, your habits. Unless habits are conquered and your energy flows are circulating in the proper courses without being hindered by habits, you cannot go further on the path. Habits are formed when a planned way of activity crystallizes or becomes outmoded and does not meet the contemporary demands. When certain actions are performed continuously to enjoy pleasures, when the same circumstances continuously evoke the same emotional reactions, when one follows the command of a post hypnotic message put in his mind. Unless we overcome our habits, we cannot grow. Transfiguration is related to destroying habits. Transfiguration means that the whole personality must pass away and something new must be born. Applicants for discipleship are warned to be pure before they enter the path of fire. Any unworthy material in his nature that he brings with him can catch fire and destroy the disciple on the path. A true disciple closely observes the law of karma in regard to all his actions on all levels. One may ask, what is the use of breaking habits? There are many benefits. Every time you break a habit on any level, mental, emotional, or physical, on that level, you release energy and create harmony. Every time you break a habit, you bring a change into the centers, glands, and organs. Every time you break a habit, you create contact with the greater universe. Every time you overcome a habit, your level of creativity rises and your productivity increases. Every time you overcome a habit, you come closer to your real self. Every time you break a habit, love and joy increase in you. Habits waste a great amount of energy because they create unnecessary movements and strain. Movements or action can take place on one plane, on they can move different wheels on all planes. With such action, a considerable amount of energy is wasted. Strain needs great amount of energy. The higher the strain is, the greater is the amount of wasted energy. Mental strain uses 30 times more energy than the physical strain. Emotional strain uses 50 times more energy than physical and mental strain because it involves these two planes. When our energy is misused, we deprive ourselves of physical, emotional, and mental energy. Such a lack of energy affects our physical health, emotional health, and mental health because all these machines need energy in order to function. If there is not enough energy, their harmony and synchronization suffer, and different forms of trouble start in them. Thus, the first step for keeping our inner factory going is not to waste energy through habits. The second step is to find a way to contact new sources of energy within our system and within the universe. So, this is what he wrote uh, about what would be disciples expect from life. So we talk about meditation, we talk about life graphs, we think we are already transcendental souls, but the real meditation, the real importance of meditation is life. In life, everyone needs to understand the role of mental, emotional, and physical habits we do carry. So if at all we need to have a understanding of our life graph, only if we understand our habits well and how we replace those habits with new ones, that is where the real meditation helps everybody. Everybody like they just go on with their habits. The old habits need to be replaced with new habits is what the entire life teaches everybody. So that is the most important thing, like what we can expect from life means, so a life in which you have meditation as your regular practice, we are talking about that life. Only people who keep have regularity in their meditation, they can really understand the real life meaning and life graphs properly. So, and the first step to understand more of life and life graphs, one needs to really understand the all habits, how they formulate in us, how they stop us from living from an authentic life. So only by removing the non-essential habits, that is why you can see, like, even you go and see lot of new age literature. Even Joe Dispenza, he wrote about breaking the habit of being yourself. Or most of the people say, like, break the routine. And all habits, mental habits or emotional habits, they are the things, like, which stop us from really understanding our life graphs. So make meditation a regular practice and really think of what are the habits which are really helping you, and the habits which are really stopping your growth. Only a person, once he sits and really understand himself, can really know all those things. So that is why we selected this topic. Like, we wanted to talk about what life graph is, and what an individual who is an aspiring for meditation can expect from life. In expecting from life, these are the important things. One needs to really understand that keeping your habits as it is and starting meditation and saying that nothing is happening won't happen. Like with meditation, you need to have replace your old habits with your new habits. You need to allow it, you need to accept the old situation, and unless and until you allow it, it don't happen. So along with this, even Tarkam, uh, there are so many things, like, we need to understand is, like, 46, these things are laws of life. So you want to understand your life graph authentically, or like more naturally, these 46 things we always keep as a chart. And we, any given moment, every sentence, every seed sentence or wisdom sentence, what I call it as, these are all the wisdom sentence from Tarkam about loss of life. So thinking on one of them and doing reflective meditation upon it will bring many blessings to your life. This is what is like kind of meditation one needs to practice. These are, like, wisdom statements from the people who have experienced life, and they know, they have studied their life graphs. Because they have studied their life graphs, they presented their life graphs, things in this way. The first thing is, you eventually become like those who hate. You eventually become like those you hate, and start to act as they act. And we can talk 3 hours, 30 hours, 300 hours about these things. The entire an individual's emotional body, or, like, the emotional body or emotional plane or emotional dimension, people talk. But this is what one needs to understand. If we still start hating everything, and thinking that life is very harsh towards us, no, 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 never it can happen. Because people don't understand their emotional or astral levels. If at all you want to come close to yourself, then this is what the real understanding of loss of life is. I'm meditating. Can I hate? Because our whole objective and purpose is to meditate. And the hate must be replaced with compassion. But is it happening in all departments of my life? That is what is the most important reflective meditation people should do. Because you eventually become like those you hate, and start to act as they act. Think about that. Second, Second, you hate someone because you hate things in him that are in the process of, I think, who is doing this? You hate someone because you hate things in him that are in the process of developing within you. People ask about subconscious things, but these are the common observations because people are interested in meditation. Observe the things happening in your inside you. Three, those who have to give others, they will have more. Those who have more, they will lose what they have. One must periodically empty himself to able to be filled anew. And this is what meditation is all about. We talk about filling, people are worried about emptying. You talk about emptying, they are always interested in filling. Four, most important thing, when one is empty of himself, the universe will dwell in him. So when did we really overcome the habit of being preoccupied in our mind, always preoccupied with something, always being in the past, or always your memories running your life? See, every sentence, like if at all we understand this, then as we read in life graphs, our life graph will be much natural. And without understanding these things, I'm definitely, you can expect your life graph to be what? If you ask, the answer will be given. If you knock, people will respond. If you search, things will come your way. Those who spread dirt eventually find it as their nourishment. These are all laws of life. Okay, if at all you want to understand your life graph in more authentic way, through meditation, these are the things one needs to understand. Your emotional body is the result of your words, imagination, and emotional reactions. Your mental body is the result of your thoughts, visualization, or vanity and ego. Beauty evokes seeds of beauty latent in you. And 11th thing is rather more important. Nothing is lost in the universe. It took so much of time for me to understand this 11th thing. Nothing is lost in the universe. No one can change things for the better or cause transformation unless he exists or obeys one who exists. There is the law of opposites. Light evokes darkness, darkness evokes light. There is the law of substitution by which you are allowed to pay the debts of others. That is what family karma, that is what earthly karma, that is what planetary karma means. Your payment for others becomes your savings. That is what is spiritual service is all about. Those who debt is paid help you for your future achievements. Only after you empty yourself can you be filled. Success is the result of the exhaustion of karma. Conscious suffering removes a great amount of karma. This is most important, 19th thing. All teachers need to understand. After a lot of meeting a lot of people, we understand this statement. Conscious suffering removes a great amount of karma. 21st is also more important. We are afraid of people whom we hate. And racism and nationalism are the result of our fear and insecurity. Thirty-two is also more important. Knowledge is like acid. It burns its surroundings unless it is in the cup of love. That is why, like, people who are knowledgeable, people who have light, we can see they don't have love, then they may be having willpower also, because why the today's scenario is like this is because a lot of people, they have light and willpower, but the most important thing, that heart quality is what is missing, that compassion, that love is not there. Unless until these three things are there, we can never understand spiritual science authentically. The entire Tarkam's approach was like, he has given equal emphasis for uh, a willpower, love and compassion, love and wisdom, as well as light. So think meditation practice from these three things. These three things should be there if at all you are meditating: willpower, love, wisdom, compassion, and light. 36. Good relations with God cannot be achieved without having a good relation with his children. The most important thing is the most important law of life. And most of the things, like, we talk to most of great galactic entities, but we never take care of people who are with us. That is where we need to rethink about our spiritual direction. Everybody are very free to give advices, and you communicate with extraterrestrials, you talk with so many things. It may be good, but it, it, it is of no use if that can't be applied in your own life. Never give responsibilities to those who avoid their responsibilities towards their parents, husband, wife, or children. The best way to lose your friends is to lie to them. And 46th, do not give advanced teachings to those who are persons of self-interest or who are racists. So these are all the laws of life, okay, from Tarkam Saradarian books, especially from leadership series, life graphs, and this chapter, what to expect, disciples can expect from life. So, like, the main motive, like, now, let people sit and try to understand life in their own way, because nothing should be forced on anybody. But these things from Tarkam's literature really helped us. That is why, like, our intention was to share with you all people, so that it may be of help to you. So that is the only motive. And think of all these things.